I'm Ciarán Lynch and welcome to OviCast, the Teagasc Sheep podcast. Each episode will bring you latest insights, advice and technical updates for the sheep industry. In this episode we catch up with Tomás O'Leary, who's farming just outside Killarney in County Kerry. Tomás, who's also a participant in the Better Farm Sheep programme, has always joined his ewe lambs and managed them alongside his mature ewe flock. He shares his experience on how to manage these ewes to achieve a high output. We discuss his selection criteria that ensures replacement ewe lambs are suitable to join, the ram choice, the joining period length. Tomás discusses his scan result this year with us, the feeding regime from housing right through to late pregnancy for them ewe lambs, and we move on to discuss some of the management issues around lambing and his plans for turnout. Tomás highlights just why he supplements this group post lambing and how he manages them from turnout up to weaning, highlighting the importance of maintaining their condition. We start off, however, with Tomás giving us the reasons why he joins ewe lambs and why it works in his system.
I got into sheep farming back in the mid-80s, and I started off with ewe lambs, buying ewe lambs in the mart and breeding them. I suppose down through the years I've kind of perfected, you learn from your mistakes. This year now I would have put 50 ewe lambs to the ram, and I would have 41 in lamb.
You're at it a long time, Tomás, and in fairness, I've seen over the years you achieve very high results, high scan results with them ewe lambs, and they perform as a good flock. I suppose from your perspective, what's some of the key criteria to getting that kind of high output from them ewe lambs? When do you start? It's a closed flock you're running. When do you start picking them ewe lambs?
At weaning time, you go through the lambs. All the ewe lambs are all have a management tag at birth. So as they're being weaned, it's very easy to pick out the ewe lambs. You see the coloured discs. So I have different colours for triplets and twins, singles. So I pick out the ones, I probably pick out maybe 70 or 80 maybe, starting off with the intention of ending up with 50. So from July to September, anytime they're in, going through them, weighing them, checking their condition, seeing them, you're drafting off, or you're culling off a few probably each time to end up with 50. And the main criteria there is it's to have them at the correct weight. That's the most important thing. So I'd be aiming to have them at up to around 50 kilos going to the ram. If you don't have the right weight, you're on a loser from that point on.
Well, you're really chasing from there, and so you're starting with a very well grown ewe lamb. I suppose your criteria there is to have enough to pick from, because look, the performance will change a lot from weaning until October.
Definitely, that's what I found over the last number of years. If you're too select in starting off, some of them may not achieve what you think they will. Whereas by picking a larger group, some of the more marginal ones, they can thrive a lot better as the summer goes on, and they turn out to be great ewe lambs. So I think by having more is the key there. That you'll finish up then with your best ewe lambs at breeding time.
Just like your 50 ewe lambs, you're looking at them well-grown 50-kilo ones. When are you joining them relative to your mature ewes, and how long are you joining them for, Tomás?
So the main crop, the mature ewes would go to the ram around the 10th of October. So about 2 weeks after that. So it's usually a Saturday. I'll let the rams off. So 2 weeks later, I mate the ewe lambs. Then it's Charlie rams I use with them. I've been doing that now for a good few years, mainly because of easy lambing. I suppose you learn along the way. I used to use Suffolks on ewe lambs at one time, and you'd have to be with every one of them lambing. Because they were harder to lamb, whereas with the Charlie it's no bother. A lot of the time I'm not there with them because there's other jobs out in the field when all the other ewes and lambs are out there. So more often than not, they lamb by themselves and they're up and sucking.
They get on with life a bit better. So them Charlie rams, they're in for what, about a 4-week joining period with them?
This year now is the kind of the first year I've done that. So they're in for 4 weeks. They're pulled the same time as the mature rams or ewes, the rams that are with the mature ewes. So they're all pulled the same day. So the mature ones get 6 weeks, and the ewe lambs get 4 weeks with the ram.
I like that 2 week gap. Look, it's given the ewe lambs a bit more of a chance to cycle in the back end of the year. But I suppose for your own perspective, Tomás, it's probably giving you a little bit more space and time maybe to deal with them if you have to, by virtue of the fact that they're coming a bit later as well.
Well, yeah, like at 14 days later than the mature ones, a lot of them have lambed at that stage, and it'll take them a week to really start to get going, get lambing. So all the mature ones are lambed at that stage. So whatever attention the shed gets, it's entirely to the ewe lambs. So you can manage them that bit easier as well.
And look, there's less competition for individual pens and things like that. Look, just maybe to bring us more up to date, like there was a good, I'm assuming they had a good scan again this year with you.
Yeah, it was okay. It was back a bit from last year, but the reason for that was that they had 6 weeks last year, they had 4 weeks this year. So those 50 ewe lambs went, 49 went to the ram this year. 41 turned up in lamb, and the scan was 1.5 when you take out the dry ones. Okay. So I was happy enough with that. It was up in 1.7 last year, or previous years, but I was still happy enough with 1.5.
No, it's a good hit in ewe lambs. So look, it really shows the benefit of having them at the right weight too, going to the ram. But look, you're in the middle of lambing at the moment with them. How are they getting on for you?
They're good now. They're flying. They're plenty of milk. Like that's down to, I suppose, the feeding regime is very important. They're getting a bit of soya, and they're getting ration. So the singles would be getting 300 grams from when they were housed right up along. The doubles were getting it until scanned, and once when they were scanned, then the doubles would be up on 0.7, 0.8 of a kilo at this stage. But they're being topped up with a small bit of soya as well, which is a big help for milk, for beastings. Starting out, it gives them a great boost when they're born.
I suppose, look, the two key things in that, you're giving them that wee bit of meal from turning to keep them growing on, because the silage won't meet it. But your twins are on the same regime which your mature ewes to be on, Tomás. The singles you're leaving on a flat rate the whole way through, are you?
Yeah, so they're on 300 grams. I don't give them any more than that. They're on good silage, and if they get more, I feel if they get more than that, and I suppose from experience, you're going to have big lambs, and there's no need of it any. You're really just giving them enough for them, for their own growth, as that they're immature, size.
To keep them going. Look, you mentioned there earlier, like in terms of assistance on that lamb, and you don't really have huge amount of intervention with them ewe lambs. It's probably one of the stumbling blocks or off-putting points for a lot of people making ewe lambs, is kind of the perceived level of interference with them. But I suppose like a couple of things there, like the well-grown, the feeding right, you don't have a hell of a lot of interference during this period.
No. And as you say there, it's important that you don't really, because I would have found that if you have to handle a ewe or ewe lamb, you're running into problems then with them accepting the lamb, and they don't, they're not intending to take to the lamb, I find, if you have to intervene. Whereas if you can let them do their thing, when the lamb is there in the pen, you come in then that stage. Sometimes they'll follow you with the lamb, more often than not they won't. You'll have to pull them out. But they've bonded with the lamb at that stage, and there's no real problem.
The bonding's better. They're a wee bit more fickle than the mature ewe, obviously. But look, I suppose you're about halfway through it at the moment. Obviously, conditions haven't been ideal for turnout for you either, as it stands. You haven't got any of them to the field yet, Tomás, have you?
No, normally I would have, but the weather hasn't been great now. There over the last few days, it's picking up again now. We had a great day today, so I'd be hoping the ones that have lambed will be going out now in the next day or two, just to get time to move them out, and the rest, as they lamb, then will be going after a couple of days.
Once
just to mother up inside. Yeah.
Once weather's permitting. Look, just in terms of managing them post-lambing, like if you've covered well what you do with them pre-lambing, do you managing them as a separate group post-lambing? Are you feeding them, and what kind of regime have you them on?
Yeah, so they're kept as a separate group. The ewes, I continue to feed them with meal outside. They get a half a kilo a day, probably for a month. Or 5 weeks maybe. Just they need that extra bit really. They're under pressure, especially if they have twins, that if you don't give them the bit of ration, the lamb will suffer that bit, and the ewe will suffer as well if the weather, especially if the weather is anyway bad. The lambs then would be introduced to creeping after 3-4 weeks. Like, they won't eat a whole lot of it to start off, but it's there for them, and as the weeks goes on, they'll take it, they'll get smart, and they'll start eating it.
About half years are going to be going with twin lambs at foot.
That's right, yeah. So there's no problem with that really. They survive a way out with the mother. They do well enough.
It's a case really of watching then for any performance once to go. But like, you're keeping them as a separate group. You probably aren't pushing them just to stay some mature flock either, are you, Tomás?
No, so they would get the best grass. They wouldn't be left to graze down, to the 4 centimeters now. They'd be moved on, and they'd always have choice grass. They'd have the bit of ration. If there's bad weather or whatever, they're given the more sheltered fields. So they're pretty much pampered really. They're given every chance.
Look, it's something that they need. If you're going to manage your lambs post-lambing, they need that extra bit of attention and maybe a bit less competition by keeping them as a separate group.
Or you wouldn't manage them if they were with the main group. The old lambs would struggle as well. Like, they have to be kept as a separate group, really.
Just like maybe one final thing, Tomás, in terms of managing them. Look, getting them back in good enough nick for the following year. Avoiding losing too much condition. Okay, the supplementation for them couple of weeks, keeping them pushed ahead are definitely two big helps to it. In terms of weaning them, when are they weaned relative to the mature ewes?
They're weaned the same time, so the lambs would be a couple of weeks younger. The main reason for that is to give the ewe lamb a chance to build up condition, for going back in lamb again in the autumn. They do, the condition, it will suffer a bit. Like, if they have 2 lambs, they're at weaning time, they do need that extra bit of time to build on the cover again. I find the mature ewes at weaning time, their cover, their condition is quite good. But some of the ewe lambs, they do need the extra bit of care and attention at weaning time, from weaning time on,
You're looking really going in 10 to 11 weeks. I suppose, like, by comparison, mature ewes are probably pulling up a wee bit again by weaning, whereas the ewe lamb is still struggling that little bit more.
Yeah, like, she's working the whole time from when she lambs. She's still not a mature animal. So, she's under pressure. So she needs to be minded, from right through from day one, really.
Tomás, it was great hearing how you're running that ewe lamb system, and obviously it's working well for you because you're paying attention to a lot of the key details. I may leave you to it. Thanks very much for coming on, and I hope the rest of the lambing goes well for you.
All right, Ciarán, thank you very much. No problem.
Okay, we'll finish things up at this point. Again, it was great having Tomás on, hearing how he's running the system and some of the key tips on what he's doing to get that high level of output. And it's really about focusing on some of the basic management practices during the year. I will include a link in the description to a short video that Tomás did for us back last September that'll give you a wee bit more insight to that ewe lamb system and let you see some of the type of stock he's working with. That's it for me for this episode. Again, for any other updates from the sheep programme, keep an eye on our Twitter page at Teagasc Sheep. I'm Ciarán Lynch. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in to any of our episodes.